Good morning. It's day 61, Thursday, the 23rd, and it's about 8 a.m. I got up early, but just kind of moving slow, and this is my second round with the sauna. The first one was short. I had my highly collagenated and protein coffee, and now I'm switching it up with a green tea with coconut milk and a little bit of honey. And I'm trying to get yesterday's video posted as well as the day before. Something was just not working right with the app where I make my videos, so I did not get that posted yesterday. And then it just became a really busy day with task lists and preparing for this move, so trying to navigate all of that. And then I watched The Sound of Music last night, kind of a little bit in and out throughout the day, and then watched the last long bit of it before I went to bed. And it was one of my favorite movies as a child, but wow, just the incredible, amazing music, and it's just so beautiful and still so relevant in some ways. It's a very timeless movie in some ways. But I was surprised at the impact of it too, as I was trying to sleep, and the songs that were playing in my head. Had a little bit of trouble sleeping last night, which as we're approaching the move, I've noticed a little bit more of that, and some restlessness in my legs, which I haven't been riding. My bike is outside and it's just been so cold. So I'm looking forward to putting my bike inside in the new house because we'll have space, and getting back to riding, but we'll see how the day flows. I might try to get on there today when it warms up a bit, but we'll see. It also really just feels like time to start packing and sorting through things, which I know will probably bring up a lot of emotions. Yeah. The biggest emotion still right now is actually just in the noticing of what has taken place in the time that I've been here, and in the living ceremony container. Here's a squirrel. Let's see if I can catch him. Cute. Realized I said, let's see if I can catch him. Did anyone actually think I was going to catch the squirrel? Yeah. Yeah. Not finding a lot of words yet. I feel like so many days that I've done this, I'm like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe I've done this. And it's like another milestone, having passed 60 days. And today being day 61, day 63 was the original ending date. And it's just so interesting that that is going to line up with the day that we take possession of this house, that we get the keys to this house. And that timeline has changed. Like, many things have happened. It was supposed to be the first day of Summit, and it's just so interesting because for the Dharma Artist Collective Zodiac Games Challenge, I created the Cosmology Challenge. I created I'm gonna call it loosely a despacho. I don't know if it really, a mandala, ceremonial, ritualistic. I created my first living ceremony in that video. which is posted on YouTube if you're interested. But I have left that mandala, that despacho, in place. And at first I didn't know how long I was going to, and then it was like, it will be until summit, but then I realized I would be gone on day 63, so then I would come back and then, you know, disassemble it. But it's like putting, the idea is like putting life in order in the way that I see it, in the highest good and the good of all. And that thing has just turned into something so incredibly powerful that it's like it knows more than I knew. But I think that's just how the way, you know, that's what faith and surrender really mean, is like putting life into order in the best way possible with the most flexibility to knowing that I don't know everything. So I could never have imagined all the things that would happen when I started this. I just recognized that I had created a living ceremony, and creating that video and creating that despacho and putting it out into the world in the form of this video, of that video, that it was going to continue and remain, and I wouldn't know how far or wide it would go, or what the time expanse would be. A cardinal just flew over. That's pretty cool. But I recognized it. I recognized that something had taken place, and I recognized that I had not left the ceremony by just posting that video, by submitting that video. It had just begun. So here I am, 61 days later, having gone through many layers of initiation, having become a holographic sound healer, having written a memoir, having changed my relationship to my family in a lot of ways, now having had the last mentally fit class call, and moving is happening. It's wow, cardinal just flew again. Wonder if I can capture. Yeah, we'll take all the messages. But yeah, I think that's just kind of how it works. Is if it's the same thing with like making a vision board. I made a new vision board, and my belief system of how I make a vision board is you go through magazines, and it's what grabs you, what really creates some kind of emotion, some kind of feeling, and you don't have to understand why. It's the more that invokes something in you, the more that there's some meaning, something that might be future self pulling you forward. And in my experience in assembling these vision boards, like, they do come true, but they always have like a little surprising twist that may happen. And like one of the most interesting ones by far was putting this beautiful hearth fireplace with a staircase that went around it on my vision board, having no idea what this place was. And months later, my husband had picked out a place for us to stay in New Mexico for one of our trips, and I plan almost every aspect of all of our trips, and that's just kind of my role. But he had kind of looked for a different path and found this really cool old hotel, historic, and so I was like, yeah, that looks really cool. Called what is it called? The El Rancho Hotel in Gallup, New Mexico. And I booked the room, and I booked the suite for I'm blanking on names here, the Duke John Wayne. Okay, the John Wayne suite, which was really cool. He apparently in the hotel had requested that they make 2 rooms into 1 room, and then he designed everything he wanted about it, and it walked out to the pool of the hotel. So very cool. We stayed on a weekday, so it was less expensive. But I booked the room, and then I just started looking at pictures of the hotel, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember specifically like yelling to my husband in the other room and being like, oh my fucking God, Brian, you're not gonna fucking believe this. And it was that same hearth was in the lobby of that hotel. And I was like, I have manifested some things in my day, but that is next level. And especially that we did it together. It was just so cool, just out of this world, just mind blowing. I'm like, okay, if you have any doubt that these things work, they work. You don't even have to know what the picture is or where it is. It's gonna find you. So anyways, all that's to say is like, I think there's like a whole other level to the despacho when it's like the full surrender, or the super give, as I like to say, the leaning forward. It's like, that was something that came up the other day and talking about surrender. You know, surrender kind of feels defeatist to me, or warlike, or giving up in a way, which I know there's many meanings. But one day my roommate and I, housemate, were talking about surrender and like the etymology, and we came up with the super give, which feels really good. And then the other day we were talking about it again, and I was like, the super give is like, rather than falling back, it's like falling forward. Fully leaning in with trust and faith that something's gonna be there to catch you or to show you the next step. So yeah, just reflecting on creating something that was of pure intention. It was in ceremony. I didn't know how to do the video of cosmology, like what is my cosmology? And so I felt really strongly that I was meant to be in ceremony and ritual while assembling it. And then I just started filming things out. Okay, phone overheated, so hopefully you caught that. But yeah, so I just started listening to the invitation to film nature, to film the grass and the roses and the little tiny snail shells that I found. And as I went into that, it was like the cosmology is speaking to me through nature, and just trusting that it would come together, not really trying to tell the story, but let the story be told through the story that exists, through the living ceremony. And that's what became of that video, was living ceremony. And if you haven't seen that video, it's called I Am Cosmology, and it's posted on my YouTube. But that's where this all began. So and that was my first YouTube video. So here we are, 63 or 4 something videos later, a few sound ceremonies, and it's been a wild ride. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now before my phone overheats again. And I'm gonna try to get yesterday's video posted and do some chanting, and yeah, move through my morning. Running some errands, doing some returns, picking up a few things from the grocery store. So, getting a few boxes out of my house that needed to be moved because the boxes are piling up. So, every little bit of space counts. I'm just sitting here getting ready to do some work, and I'm staring at my vision board, and I was just speaking to my dear soul sister, fit for service sister, who I'm moving very near to, and just remembering going to the Solar Punk Summit this summer, which was a very last minute decision for me. And being there, camping and volunteering in the kitchen and spending time in the river where the dragonflies were all landing on me, and sitting in a cacao circle with these beautiful songs being sung by the Native American church. It's just something really magical has come into being, or rather, have come into seeing what always was. And so much of it is just like truly faith and believing without knowing the outcome or how it will present. But there's definitely this very big sense of opening in that faith, and a sense of creation of the reality that we literally create our reality. So, in some senses, it's an invitation to be careful of what you speak, because that is the lens that you're seeing life through. And it creates it and it feeds it. So if you are imagining life as a very scary, chaotic place, and you're saying that out loud, you are feeding that narrative. You are creating it. You are giving it life. And if you see the world as a place for magic and miracles and love and surprises and honest emotions, sadness, grief, pain, but pure honesty in that truth, it doesn't become some sludge that we're stuck in, but a river that we're moving in, like a rolling stone. It's consistently believing, though. And when things come up that test that, or feel like tests, it's an invitation to not even see it as a test, but to get curious and available to other lenses. What is this inviting me to see? What part of me is looking at this? What is the predominant lens of which I am experiencing this situation? Am I feeling tension? Am I feeling availability? Am I distracted? These are all layers and questions that are available, and then some. So it is practicing the pause and reflection and mindfulness to even have awareness of how we are showing up and what kind of lenses are available through that narrative.